Are you a current or future physician assistant wanting to learn more about finances? Then join me on this journey to become a PA the FI way. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm a practicing certified physician assistant who will be your host. It took me 5 years after I started practicing medicine as a PA to thoroughly dive into my personal finances after I discovered the concept of financial independence. I want to use what I have learned to help you avoid some of the financial mistakes that I have made while sharing some of the financial wins that I have had along the way. Join me as we discuss financial strategies to guide you to becoming a physician assistant on the way to financial independence. Welcome back to the PA the FI Way podcast. I hope you all enjoyed a wonderful Memorial weekend and had the opportunity to honor and remember, as well as enjoy the weekend with your family or with your friends. Before Memorial Day weekend, I spent the time in Denver at AAPA 2025, and it was great to be able to catch some wonderful CME lectures, as well as catch up with PA friends and network with new ones too. Definitely stay tuned for some upcoming amazing and inspiring guests in some episodes coming up here. One of the main stage events included a keynote by a speaker named Sunil Gupta, and he shared a lot of information about protecting your energy, helping with burnout, and it was an incredibly inspiring speech overall. I'm not going to share all of the information that he shared, but for today's episode, I do want to focus on one area that he touched on, and that is the concept of rhythmic renewal. Back in episode 84, I talked about getting 7 different types of rest. So you're very likely familiar about how important rest is throughout your days, throughout your weeks, throughout your years, and throughout your life overall. And many of us can struggle with feeling guilty when we are resting. Maybe you can relate to feeling like you always have to constantly be productive or get work done or finish up the chores or clean things around the home, and you feel like you can't just relax. But it's absolutely essential that you remind yourself that rest is not a reward. It is a resource to be able to sustain your energy. And Sunil defined your energy as the capacity to keep moving forward. Rest is essential for both treating and preventing burnout in healthcare. If you're not familiar with the term rhythmic renewal, it is the concept that emphasizes the importance of building intentional, recurring patterns of rest and restoration into your life to help sustain that energy, as well as your well-being overall and your productivity. Rhythmic renewal is essential in our high-stress profession working in healthcare. So instead of neglecting yourself, remember to build in rhythmic renewal throughout the day as intentional self-care throughout your day. And I'm going to talk about how to do that. This episode will focus on daily rhythmic renewal, but there are also other types of rhythmic renewal. For example, every week, I hope that you get the chance to rest at least one day, ideally 2 or more days. That is a type of rhythmic renewal that's recurring. There's also seasonal renewal. For example, if you take restorative vacations, go on retreats, or have different slower seasons. I think of tax professionals, for example. They have really high stress and busy seasons. I sure hope many of them are building in seasonal rhythmic renewal after tax season. You might be asking, why are these periods of rhythmic renewal so essential? There actually have been studies that look at brain scans of participants that don't take any breaks throughout their day compared to others that take short breaks throughout their day. And what they show is that those who take no breaks throughout their day actually have stress that continually build up throughout their whole day. The levels of stress can be shown on these brain scans, whereas those who intentionally build in short breaks throughout their day, short pauses, will kind of have this overall mild, dull, same level amount of stress throughout the day. And it's on the lower amount of stress, the lower end of the spectrum. These micro recoveries that we're going to talk about boost both your energy, again, the capacity to keep moving forward, as well as your resilience throughout the day too. If you don't work on developing rhythmic renewal, you're risking burnout, chronic fatigue, emotional disconnection, even cynicism. And then you're often acting and living reactively to what's in front of you instead of intentionally. And you can even feel detached and drained. However, these intentional periods of renewal help you cultivate emotional and spiritual resilience, clearer thinking, healthier boundaries, burnout prevention, energy to feel more creative, have more compassion towards others, and more patience for both yourself and others too. Now that you've learned why this is important, many of you still might be tempted to resist learning these skills and implementing them into your day-to-day practice. And why would that be? Why would you resist this? Well, for example, you have internal resistance. You might feel a sense of guilt. You might feel like you're not being productive. You might fear slowing down throughout your day. You might fear getting behind in your work, not being able to catch up. You might not think it's doable or practical for your clinical day. And then besides those internal resistance examples, there are also external pressures. For example, your workplace might pressure you to have more demands, add on, seeing more patients. As I've talked about in other episodes, it's important that you develop and practice your ability to set boundaries and stick to them too. You could have external pressures like the busyness of your family, and the overall culture of your workplace might be one of just overworking, many long hours throughout your day too. Or maybe you even feel a sense of embarrassment to try to implement these in throughout your day and think that your colleagues might think less of you or might think it's odd or strange what you're trying to do. But remind yourself that it is essential. Also, when you're starting this, it's really important that you have patience with yourself and understand that your practice might be imperfect of implementing these skills in, but that it's important that you be consistent over time. Sunil encouraged us to try to implement 5 minutes for every hour, meaning work 55 minutes in a row, then have 5 minutes per 60 minutes to take this period of rest, to take these mini breaks. And doing that throughout your day rhythmically helps you with that rhythmic renewal. And again, helps keep that overall stress level that you're feeling down. You might be asking yourself, what in the world am I supposed to do for those 5 minutes? That's a great question, and it depends upon you as an individual. He encouraged that you create your own recovery menu, is what he calls them. These different ideas of what you can do in those 5 minutes. You can call your recovery menu whatever term you would like. Maybe you call them burnout buffers, or mini resets, or micro pauses. It doesn't matter what term you come up with, but pick a term that feels right for you and think about what you enjoy doing that you can implement for 5 minutes throughout your days. There are a couple of things that I would encourage you not to add to your list before we talk about some ideas of what would be good options to consider. One, I would encourage that you're not scrolling through social media. Social media does not really renew or reset you mentally. It often can be addictive, it can be entertaining, definitely, but it doesn't usually fuel you and light you up. I would also encourage you to not have those 5 minutes be where you are complaining. I'm the first to admit that I have vented to coworkers in the past when I used to work in person at different clinics, and sometimes a little bit of venting can be therapeutic. But you do not want to be falling into the trap of just complaining about your day for 5 minutes, multiple times throughout the day or multiple days of the week. That makes your brain focus on those negative things instead of the positive things in throughout your day. So what are some examples of what you can do for those 5 minutes? Again, think about what you enjoy doing. Think about if these are something you can implement and start forming your list. Number 1, you can do some breath work. For example, box breathing, where you're breathing in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold your breath out for 4 seconds. Another very common type of breath work is the 4-7-8 breathing example, where you breathe in for a count of 4, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then exhale forcefully through your mouth for a count of 8 seconds. You can try those different types of breathing techniques and see which one feels better for you, makes you feel more relaxed, more calm. Another thing that you can do for 5 minutes throughout your day is gentle stretching. You can stretch your neck, your shoulders, your back. You can go for a quick walk, whether that's a walk around your clinic, around your hospital. Better yet, even if you're able to go outside for 5 minutes. You could read for 5 minutes. You could either keep a book at your desk or a Kindle or your iPad or your phone and read a book or scripture, something that you find enjoyable and interesting to serve as a micro pause throughout your day. You could talk to a coworker that lights you up, or you could even call or FaceTime a friend or family member just to check in with them and have a really short conversation. If you're fortunate enough to work from home like I am, you can take 5 minutes and go play with one of your pets. You could go make yourself a cup of tea that you enjoy and mindfully take the time to enjoy it. You could take 5 minutes to listen to some music. There are very relaxing playlists on Spotify, and they use different hertz levels or different frequencies that actually help you feel more relaxed and more calm overall. Or on the flip side, instead of feeling more calm, if you're wanting to feel more rejuvenated or more energetic, you could listen to upbeat music for 5 minutes, and you could even dance. You might get some looks from your coworkers, or you might get some colleagues that actually want to join in with you. Another idea would be to take 5 minutes and do some journaling, whether that's writing about a specific journal prompt or taking the time to write about 3 things that you're grateful for that day. I would love to hear if you implement these little breaks throughout your day. And it's also really important that if you feel like 55 minutes to 5-minute model is not sustainable or doable throughout your clinical days, that you figure out what works for you. Is it 90 minutes to 10 minutes? Is it 2 hours to 15 minutes? What is doable? What is practical? What is sustainable for you? I encourage you to try different timing methods to figure out what works well for you, as well as try different 5-minute pauses to figure out what feels restorative, what helps lower your stress levels throughout your day as well. Let me know if you are already implementing this, and if so, which ones you enjoy doing. Or if you have never tried this and you plan on trying some of these, you can find the post on Instagram or Facebook and comment on it and let me know which one you have tried or you plan to try. Another tool that you can implement is to take the time to pause and check where your energy levels are, including where your stress levels are. And this has 3 colors. It is green, yellow, and red. Green means everything's go, everything's great, you're doing well, your energy there, and you are not feeling burned out. Yellow is giving you a warning signal saying caution, you're not doing that great, your energy levels are starting to feel depleted, you're not in the full depths of burnout yet, but you are inching closer. And then red is where full stop, you are completely drained, you are completely burned out. You can be doing these little check-in levels throughout your whole day as well. You can also check in throughout your year, month to month with those levels. But what Sunil shared with us is that if you are already in the red, and the deeper you are into the red, the harder it is to get back to the green. So you want to catch yourself when you're dipping into the yellow to get back to the green instead of going all the way down to red to get back up to the green. An example of that is if you're already completely burned out, completely drained, and you don't have energy, and you go on a vacation, sometimes you can feel more stressed and more drained after the vacation because it really wasn't restorative enough and you were already in the red. But if you are able to take time off and rest when you're in the yellow, it's often easier to go back up to the green. I hope this podcast episode empowers you and gives you a sense of absolute permission to build in these small periods of rest so you can rhythmically renew yourself throughout your days and help prevent periods of overwhelm and periods of high stress. My challenge for you is to either start implementing this if you don't currently have any type of strategy to rest throughout your day and take periods throughout your day, or play around with trying different types of timing, whether it's the 55-5 model, 90-10 model, and figure out what works well for you, and figure out what looks like your recovery menu or your burnout buffer list. What is on that list? What are you going to try? Or what has worked well for you in the past? I totally understand that being intentional takes time and takes energy, but this will actually be an investment for your overall mental health and keeping burnout at bay. Think about those other PAs or nurses or surgeons or physicians that you work with that are constantly go, go, go and don't seem to take any breaks. Go ahead and send them this episode. And maybe you can be an accountability partner for them for this too. You can check in with each other, see how it's going, incorporating them throughout their day, and see how they're feeling at the end of their day as well. I so much appreciate you taking a listen today, and I'll see you back here soon. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you decide to continue to join me along this journey of becoming a PA the FI way. Please take a moment to press the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening to this on, but more importantly, consider sharing with another current or future PA that could benefit from the information that we reviewed in this episode. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Until next time.